Hello everybody, welcome back for another video. Hope you're all doing well and that you are all having a great day. Without further ado, let's start things off. A report recently released by the Department of Research at Morgan Stanley shows institutions have started to get more involved with Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. The report is titled Bitcoin Decrypted, a brief tech in and implications, and also notes interest in Bitcoin from retail traders, that's everyday normal people, has lately been declining. Morgan Stanley, a leading investment bank in the United States, in its research analyzed the cryptocurrency market over the past 6 months. The analysis unearthed some interesting facts. For example, it states that there is an increase in institutional investors who are believing in virtual currencies. These investors believe digital assets will bring a revolution to the current traditional financial structure. In support of their research, the report notes that cryptocurrency assets under management have gradually increased from early 2016 to currently stand at $7.11 billion US dollars spread across venture capital funds, hedge funds, and private equity firms. Throughout the report, Bitcoin is cited as the primary point of reference, with the researchers arguing that it improves and solves its problems. While Bitcoin is still regarded as a speculative investment, people are already using it as a store of value. Dr. Zeynep Gurguk of Imperial College London has termed it as a potential mode of payment in the next decade. However, he notes that there are issues that need to be addressed before it's incorporated into payment systems. These include scalability, regulation, usability, volatility, and privacy. Additionally, the researchers assessed the gradual rise of stablecoins, which began towards the end of 2017 and has gathered pace this year. That's an understatement. They note that the decline in crypto prices has led to an increase in the shares of Bitcoin trade volume by USDT. However, they don't see all stablecoins surviving in the long term. According to them, those that will survive will most likely have lower transaction costs, high liquidity, and a clear regulatory structure. We're going to work backwards from this. The fact that we even have more than 10 stablecoins right now is kind of just showing me that we have an enormous amount of people who are companies, whatever you want to call them, are trying to get into the cryptocurrency space without actually having to get into the cryptocurrency space, i.e., there are a lot of people who still think that crypto could be a farce. It could be something too new. They don't want to really get into it without having to, institutions have been noting in the past that they don't want to get directly involved with cryptocurrencies because it might be too much of a risk for their investors. Therefore, I think this is why we have so many stablecoins. I personally don't think we need any stablecoins. I could see the need or the idea of a need for at least maybe 2 to 3 of them, especially if they had like proper backing and stuff like that. But besides that, I definitely don't think that is something that is completely necessary in the cryptocurrency space. But once again, we have a structure or something built around the idea that we are going to have at some point thousands upon thousands upon thousands of coins. And these coins will only show that the earlier cryptocurrencies, or the coins that have the most liquidity, or the coins that have the most backing behind them, will then dominate over the other coins, even the other cryptocurrencies, and as well as the stable coins, simply because I think we have too many. As far as this is very true, and I've stated before, it's kind of a shame that it's actually happening. The retail investors, or like the everyday investors out there, are probably gone from crypto at this point. When you read articles talking about the stability of the cryptocurrency market, it becomes very clear that a large part of the market is very stable because normal people have, not everyone, obviously, a large portion of them have sold off their cryptocurrencies. These cryptocurrencies have been either bought up by other investors or they've been bought over the counter by other investors. So they're pretty much not out of reach right now. Like, obviously the other people can still buy back in, but the odds of them actually buying back into the market that they no longer believe in is completely gone. Because what happened is that at the end of 2017, let's say July 2017 until the very end, we had a lot of people who had never been into finance, had never invested, had never been into stocks, bonds, mutual funds, like anything like that. They got into cryptocurrencies. They thought that it was going to be this never-ending wave of richness. And then when the market collapsed, especially a lot of people who got in around November, December, they didn't realize that prices could go down. They're out of the market completely. And this is why it's sad. This is why we've seen more institutional investors getting into this space, because they know that there's a term for it. It's not the uninformed investors. It's like the the not savvy, I can't think of the word right now, but they've left the market, and now the market is able to be controlled by the same exact people who were controlling finance before. And this is why there is like a, why people have suddenly picked their heads up. This is why Morgan Stanley is talking about or writing reports about Bitcoin. This is why we've seen all these other institutions slowly getting into it. It's because the legitimacy of Bitcoin has completely picked up, and normal investors have not picked up on it. The fact that, like, I mean, not to beat this dead horse again, but the fact that prices have dropped and the New York Stock Exchange and the NASDAQ have gotten into cryptocurrencies and normal people haven't taken note of this, it just kind of, it played completely into what the institutional investors wanted to happen. I was listening to something yesterday. It was I can't remember the name of the actual video, and it was pretty much talking about exactly what I just said, that the rich people have more or less already won. They found a way to be able to throw out fake news and ban reports, and so was going to happen. The same exact thing with JP Morgan Chase talking about how much they hated Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. We can't stand them. And then you look at reports from a week before they were, when they had said these things, or rather Jamie Dimon had said these things, and they were actually buying like $20 million worth of Bitcoin after they had spread negative news. Once again, it's sad, but this is kind of the world that we live in. Hold tight if you can. The markets will move eventually, and it'll be fueled by things like this. Morgan Stanley is a very large name in the financial world. And yeah, the people who should be into Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies, who would benefit from it the most, have now all but left the building. Pretty sad. Okay, let's move on. So yeah, the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission, or the SEC, has charged the founder of a decentralized Ethereum exchange called EtherDelta with operating an unregistered exchange. I hope something in your brain clicked together, because that sentence shouldn't have been made. As a decentralized exchange, the crypto trading platform allowed users to trustlessly trade Ethereum-based tokens without registering accounts or entrusting their funds to an exchange-controlled wallet. Trading was managed by a smart contract, though through the exchange relied on off-chain infrastructure maintained by its operator. According to the SEC, the EtherDelta platform illegally allowed users to trade tokens that the SEC considers to be securities under federal law, making it an unregistered securities exchange. EtherDelta has both the user interface and underlying functionality of an online national securities exchange, and was required to register with the SEC or qualify for an exemption. This was said by Stephanie Avakian, co-director of the SEC's Enforcement Division. They said, "We are witnessing a time of significant innovation in the securities markets with the use and application of distributed ledger technology." This was said by Stephen Piken, co-director of the SEC's Enforcement Division. But to protect investors, they say, this innovation necessitates the SEC's thoughtful oversight of digital markets and enforcement of existing laws. Zachary Coburn, EtherDelta's founder, consented to the order and agreed to pay $300,000 in disgorgement, along with $13,000 in prejudgment interest and a $75,000 penalty, though he has not admitted or denied the SEC's findings. Like I said, I wonder if a lot of people got it. The point of a decentralized exchange is that it is an exchange that is created by a person or entity or group and is kind of left to its own devices. It is decentralized, the same that other cryptocurrencies are, in that it does not have a central point of failure. There is not one particular person that you can walk up to and say, you are doing something illegal, pay us $300,000. But it's happened, and this is the second time that this has happened over the last 2 weeks. There was another cryptocurrency exchange that got like a cease and desist letter, against allowing people in New York to be able to use them or something like that. And for some reason, they stopped, at least for maybe a brief period of time. I haven't kept up with the entirety of the news. A lot of the decentralized exchanges that we have right now are not actually decentralized, in that they do have a major central point of failure where people can send them a letter and all these other things. And if you read around, people kind of expected not this one in particular to kind of crumble, but people are saying that this isn't as bad as it seems, in that people are learning from the mistakes of this decentralized exchange. simply because we now have remember I said before, and I said this months ago, I said, I wonder what the future of decentralized exchanges are going to be, simply because the authorities around the world, especially the SEC, let's focus on the SEC and the CFTC, they've become very obsessed over the fact that they cannot control Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. And this is why I still think that they haven't given a proper thing as to what is a security and what is not going to be a security, simply because control. That's pretty much I'm all gonna say about that one topic. But as far as the other exchanges, this is why we've seen a huge amount of cryptocurrency exchanges leave the United States because of the SEC, because they're clamping down so hard, because they are trying to find a way to be able to control any aspect that they can of the cryptocurrency space. And when other exchanges leave and they no longer have control over them, this is kind of what ends up happening. They look for anything that they can try and push down with their thumb. And it just so happens that the thing that was supposed to be the revolutionary new way to be able to trade cryptocurrencies outside of the jurisdiction of different governments, as in the decentralized exchanges, was actually in some way hyper centralized, in that they were able to find him and therefore have him pay this type of money. I firmly believe, and even a lot of other people who are not even like crypto maximalists, the idea still stands that eventually decentralized exchanges are going to be like one of the main ways that we actually end up transacting. The idea, or rather, if you talk to people like Andreas Antonopoulos and like other like heavy crypto maximalists, they believe that crypto will continue to grow as it is right now, and then at a certain point people will figure out exactly how to have a decentralized exchange, and we won't need anything else except for this decentralized exchange that's on our phone, and our money will be on there, and so and so and so. Like there won't be any need anymore for the form of financial structure that we have right now. How long that's going to take, I'm not exactly sure. There've been a lot of DEXs and decentralized exchanges that have not had, like, they can't scale properly. They're just not really doing too well. A lot of them hackings and when you have a situation where a government agency can find you and tell you that you have been running some type of an unregistered, unlicensed securities exchange, that is probably a problem. But let's hope that the future, at least according, I mean, it's logically going to get there, but let's hope that the decentralized exchanges that will bring us into the future of finance, I don't know how to say that sentence, will eventually be made, and that they will, I think, I'm pretty sure the Omize Go team is also trying to make a DEX. So let's hope that that actually ends up working out. Let's move on. Next up, after intense speculation about a possible Ripple/Swift partnership, the rumor finally seems to be nearing its end after Swift categorically denied there were not any conversations between the two companies. According to an exclusive from finance magnates, a Swift spokesman denied the rumors after the journalist team contacted them trying to obtain an official statement to clarify the situation. They said, "I'm not sure where those rumors are coming from, but the upcoming standards release is entirely unrelated to RippleNet. Its primary purpose is to ensure all payments, including a tracking reference, a UETR, a unique end-to-end transaction reference, which will allow banks to track their GPI payments end-to-end in real time," end quote. These declarations corroborate a previous article written by Ethereum World News, which analyzed some of the causes of this rumor and the few possibilities that it might have been right. Ripple and Swift are direct competitors in the same market, but the difference in capital and influence in the world of finance is too asymmetric to think of the feasibility of an early partnership on an equal footing. Swift has expressed interest in upgrading its platform. Harry Newman, head of banking at Swift, told the Financial Times in June, "It is no secret that correspondent banking is a 1998 model, and we are busy addressing that, bringing it to a 2018 model. In addition to this, the Swift team has initiated a series of tests within blockchain technologies, which reportedly came out extremely well." I have a strong inkling, and I'm not going to even say where I think the Swift XRP Ripple rumors came from. They ignited a bit more at the last Swell conference. No. It wasn't Swell. It was Sibos, the thing that Swift had. When they re-invited the Ripple team to it, that completely drove people insane, where they were thinking about that there could potentially be a Swift Ripple partnership. Swift is they're a very conservative company. The fact that a lot of people thought, anything's a possibility. We've seen crazier partnerships come alive. We've seen banks now talking about that they love Bitcoin. So anything in the world of crypto is entirely possible. The fact that people thought I read around that people thought that Swift had given up and was actually going to completely integrate with Ripple or have Ripple buy them. And I mean, sometimes if it sounds too good to be true, it probably definitely most 100% is. I don't see anything in the near future, 10-year future, where Swift is going to bend the knee and allow Ripple to pretty much take them over. It's definitely going to be like a fight between both of them. This is why we've seen this is why the Ripple team has been targeting countries that Swift is not in, or countries that do not like Swift, or who have come out forward and said that we don't care for them. And they've been also trying to get like newer banks and institutions and stuff like that under their belt as well. And this is why Ripple has done extremely well on that front. But Swift, much like many other major, really powerful countries, not going to name any names, they have a mega monopoly on the financial world. This doesn't mean that Ripple is done for. Like, they're going to do their entire thing on the side. I don't realistically foresee a future where they're going to merge. I could definitely see potentially maybe 1 year in the future, not 1 year, like sometime in the future, where Swift does integrate something from Ripple. But don't get your hopes up. This is why hyper speculation is really bad for everyone, because some people, like I'm not going to name any names, start rumors and they post those rumors onto different social media platforms. And then other people think that they have some type of insider information that no one else does. And then it spreads like wildfire. And then when we have information like Cybos that the Swift team, or rather Swift in general, invited the Ripple people, it causes a bit of damage. I'm going to move on from this. But as of now, we have extreme clarity. The Ripple team announced a week and a half ago that they had not partnered with Swift. And now the Swift team has announced that they have not partnered with Ripple. I think part of it came from the fact that Swift has like a new thing coming out, like some type of blockchain thing, and I think the end of it ends in net. And I think they also have not an X as part of something, but like their products sound very similar to RippleNet. And this is why a lot of people thought that, they were just playing off the name because they were using part of their technology, but they wanted to keep Swift inside of it. But as of now, it appears this is not going to happen. But don't be discouraged, because Ripple they just had like a couple days ago, they announced that they have like 200 new partners in the Middle East. So don't fret. Let's continue on. Next up, the body governing South Korean lawyers has called on the government to hasten the introduction of blockchain regulations. According to a report from Reuters on Thursday, the Korean Bar Association said the government should quickly develop blockchain laws in the country to help develop the tech industry and protect investors. Kim Hyun, president of the Korean Bar Association, was quoted as saying, "We urge the government to break away from negative perceptions and hesitation and draw up bills to help develop the blockchain industry and prevent side effects involving cryptocurrencies," end quote. The government, however, will reportedly take a decision only after studying the technology thoroughly. It is currently examining the situation alongside financial regulators in the country, according to the Reuters report. The fact that they said that they're going to only after studying, it's been about a year and a half at this point. That just goes to show you how much governments really don't want to have any of this go through. The idea right now that a lot of governments are having is that they think that by not giving regulations, that this will stop the entirety of the market. And what's interesting is, remember I said before, I think that the U.S. definitely has to make a move or they're going to be left behind. We're seeing a bit of an about face when it comes to this, in that a lot of the other countries, or more or less, let's say many countries in general around the world, who I thought would have given us some type of information when it comes to cryptocurrencies and blockchain and ICOs within their countries, are now not really giving any information, and because I feel that they think that they're not going to have to deal with cryptocurrencies if they don't give it information, i.e., if we don't give them information, let them know exactly what's going on in the country, no one's going to use it. That's false, because there's definitely still a huge amount of hype in South Korea behind it. But what we're also seeing right now is, I think that the entire thing happening with Bakkt, people aren't paying attention to it as much as they really should. And when it gets launched and we have confirmation, because you have to understand that what backed essentially is, you know, besides the crypto exchange, besides the payment, besides the futures, it's a doorway for people all around the world. If you have access to, in your country, to be able to trade on the New York Stock Exchange, you are now going to have access to cryptocurrencies as a whole through a major trusted institution. You know, most people who are trading stocks and bonds and mutual funds, they may have heard of Coinbase. They're not going to use Coinbase. They may have heard of Binance. They're most certainly not going to use Binance, but they will use the New York Stock Exchange. They will use Bakkt. They will start trading in the Bitcoin futures. And I said one country is going to come to a point, and it happens to be the US, lo and behold, is going to be the first one to skyrocket everything, and then everyone else is going to desperately try to release as much regulations as they possibly can so that they can also get into it. Because my belief is that when the New York Stock Exchange launches their crypto trading desk and their Bitcoin futures, and they start bringing in an enormous amount of money, other countries are going to try and jump on it as quickly as possible. But lo and behold, they're taking their time to study the technology as opposed to just allowing cryptocurrency trading as being legal in their country and then saying that we'll wait to see exactly how ICOs unfold. Yeah. In July, the Financial Services Commission, or the FSC, the country's financial watchdog, set up a new department dedicated primarily to cryptocurrencies and blockchain. Dubbed the Financial Innovation Bureau, it was created to focus on development policy making initiatives for the industry. Also in July, a senior executive at the FSC called on the government to pass a bill regulating domestic cryptocurrency exchanges with urgency in order to counter lax security in the industry. It doesn't take months to give regulation about a cryptocurrency exchange. Just put them in the exact same box as money transfer services. This is what many other countries have already said that cryptocurrency exchanges are. They said you are transmitting money back and forth. People give you money, and when they cash out, they get that money back. Therefore, you are a cash transmitting service, company, enterprise, whatever you kind of want to call it, startup. Let's see exactly how this unfolds. I don't like to rush time. I like to be this young for as long as possible. But I want to see what's going to happen on December, or in December, depending on how you want to say it. We are very close to this event happening, and let's see if I can only imagine if Bakkt goes off without a hitch. I can only imagine what's going to happen with the other countries when they try to desperately throw out regulations so that they can also set up something so that they can also have a piece of the pie. Because realistically, I'll put it to you this way: if Binance and Coinbase can make $1 billion in profit in 2017 from the cryptocurrency market, it is clear now that everyone else also wants to have that as well. I mean, at least the US, but other countries need to really get to it. There's not much time left. And last thing for today, the chairman of Russia's State Duma Committee on Financial Markets has said that a state-backed stablecoin would be a complete equivalent to the Russian fiat ruble in the digital space. State-operated Russian news agency RIA Novosti said on the 7th of November, Chairman Anatoly Aksakov said that the crypto ruble, which may appear after the adoption of laws regulating the cryptocurrency industry in Russia, would be the same ruble, just in encrypted form. The State Duma chairman explained that it would be possible to change the Russian stablecoin for the equivalent in fiat money. He said, for example, you bring 100,000, how much is 100,000 rubles? 100,000 rubles to a bank and get 100,000 crypto rubles, 1-to-1 for fiat money. You use these funds to buy goods fixed in the blockchain, end quote. Aksakov also underlined that the crypto ruble, the ruble in the blockchain, why not, would replace the fiat ruble as soon as the blockchain begins to occupy a significant place in our economy. The chairman noted that this process must be regulated by the Russian central bank. Last week, Aksakov had already claimed at a press conference that the government was considering the launch of a state-backed cryptocurrency pegged to the Russian ruble. This was said on the 2nd of November. Okay, so we have right now countries who are talking about creating their own cryptocurrency, and it seems that the main countries who are doing this are the ones who are under some type of economic suppression by the United States. What's the word? I can't remember it. Whatever. The point is, we've seen this before, and I'm pretty certain that it's going to happen relatively soon. Sanctions, that's the word, because they're under sanctions by the United States, and they want to get around these sanctions so that they can actually do with their money as they so choose. What I think is interesting is that it's now about 5 or 6 different countries who are talking about doing this, and we're also seeing not even rumors and whispers. Like, we're seeing other countries who are completely against this, and if you dig a little deeper, they're actually very close allies with the United States, and they are trying to discourage the other countries from being able or making their own cryptocurrency that'll probably just flow between them in order to avoid the sanctions that are on top of them. What I think is the most interesting part about all of this is that every country who's under sanctions has at least spoken out loud at some point about creating their own cryptocurrency, but they're all creating like a different cryptocurrency as opposed to just creating one that kind of works together. And I wonder on top of that as well, if eventually, or rather what the plausibility for them would be of simply just, I don't know, I want to say integrating Bitcoin, but that seems too optimistic. I feel like we're a long way off from Russia and Venezuela and Iran and a bunch of other countries like integrating Bitcoin into their systems. Maybe when we have Lightning, but this is going to happen. This is definitely something that is constantly spoken about over and over, and the fact that we have like semi-confirmation that this is actually going to happen. I wonder exactly what this will do to the financial structure of different countries around the world, and exactly how other financial powers in the world will react to such outright disrespect financially. I think that's the nicest way of me kind of saying it, because you know that they're doing this just to get around the pressure that's been put on top of them by other countries. Anyway, definitely going to happen at some point. The crypto market, it's not bad. It could always be worse. I think Bitcoin, there was something last night. I think Bitcoin slipped below 64. It was like 63.98 or something like that, and that was a red flag for people. We still apparently need Bitcoin to go above the $6,800 mark. Right. Not really much more to say about that. There was news. So there's, what's it called? I'm actually shocked that Cardano's even down a little tiny bit. There are an immense amount of rumors and speculation going on right now that it's either going to be Stellar or Cardano that's going to be listed next on Coinbase. This is why Zcash is also up. This is why I said I'm kind of shocked that Cardano's actually down. It's like a bet between which one is going to get listed next. I don't know. I feel like order of sequence, I feel like it would probably be Zcash, simply because Gemini already listed it. And then I think it's probably going to be Cardano and then Stellar. That's kind of at least how I feel about it. It could also just be Friday blues as we go into the weekend. And the fact that BAT has completely lost all of its anything that it got from the Coinbase listing. Very unpredictable market. Hope you all enjoyed. Hope you all are having a great day, morning, afternoon, and or evening, wherever you are, wherever you might be. Thank you once again for watching and or listening. Let's hope that the market picks up a tiny bit, at least for the weekend. It's always nice to at least like going into the weekend and, in the weekend as well, having some green floating around, but there's at the moment been no highly negative news as to anything. So Bitcoin slipping down is kind of a weird moment. There was also people talking about that they thought that that one of the ETFs could be approved, and this also I think has some type of an effect on Bitcoin's price. None of these ETFs are going to be approved. Don't assume that an ETF is going to be approved. Don't FOMO into the market. People keep spreading really weird information, and for some reason it spreads like wildfire, as if like when someone creates an account on Twitter or something like that, or on Reddit or on Telegram, and they tell other people that something is going to happen. And I think the desire for the market to move is so strong that people believe what this random account is then telling them, and other people end up thinking that this person has insider knowledge, that the SEC is definitely going to approve one of the 9 ETFs that they rejected before. And then this is what we have going on in the market. But the point is, this is the market that we signed up for, and this is where we are. Thank you once again for watching and or listening, And yeah, I'll talk to you all soon. See you.